Hello, welcome to Voice of Royal Priesthood. Thank you for remaining subscribed if you are a subscriber. And if you have not yet subscribed, I encourage you to go ahead and subscribe and press the notification bell so that when we release a new teaching, you can be part of the blessing. Today, I want to share with you quickly how will Christians be rewarded. I know we're not following Christ because we don't want to be rewarded. We are following him because on the last day we want to be rewarded. And there is a promise of reward. So why shy away from we want to be rewarded? But if we want to be rewarded, we need to know exactly what the rewarder wants and how he has planned to reward. And knowing that will keep us in the right path, working for him and working with him. So, before Jesus Christ left, that is, before he went to the cross to pay the ultimate price for our redemption, he taught the disciples and the people, and he gave some parables. One of the parables is the one we have in the book of Matthew chapter 20. And I will read from verse 1, or I will just probably paraphrase it. And I know some of us probably have known the story, but if we have not known the story, you can read from the book of Matthew chapter 20 from verses 1 to 16. Yes, from verses 1 to 16. Well, do the best I can to make sure that we have a clear picture. In verse 1 it says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard." So this man went out early in the morning to hire laborers to work in his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. So he agreed with the laborers that he saw, and he said, "I will pay you a penny for a day's work." And they agreed. So there was an agreement. And the laborers went into his vineyard and started working. And let's see what happened after. "And he went out about the third hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. He went out again." Remember, some have been hired very early in the morning. And let's just assume that maybe that's around 6 a.m. the negotiation was going on. Maybe they started 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. We don't know. But at least we know the early in the morning. Then he said in the third hour of the day, he went back. Let's assume that that's around 11, 12. He went back, or maybe around 9. He went back and he saw some people standing idle, doing nothing. But not that they were standing idle, they did not want to work. So he said to them, "Go also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you." And they went their way. So they also went and started working. And again, in the 6th hour, see, the first people that went, they started working let's say 3 hours after that. The first one have worked for about 3 hours. Then he sent another batch in to start work. So meaning that the first set had worked 3 hours while the second set joined them. And by the time the second set worked 3 hours, he sent the third set to join them. And they started working. And about the 11th hour, remember 6th hour, the first one was in the morning, then the 3rd hour and the 6th hour. Now this one is now the 11th hour of the day, meaning that the work is about closing for the day. The workers were already thinking within them, oh, within few hours I will have my penny with me. The owner of the vineyard will pay me. So they had worked for the day, but just maybe about 1 hour left. So about the 11th hour, that's this verse 6. He went out and found others standing idle and said unto them, Why stand ye here all the day idle? Why? Why were you standing here all this morning? And they said unto him, Because no man hath hired us. He said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that shall ye receive. Now I want to put our mind on something here. He went and he met them the 11th hour of the day. And he asked them a question. Why have you been standing here idle all day? And they said, no one hired us. But one thing that you need to understand about these people is that they were also a set of determined people. Nobody hired them in the morning. Nobody hired them in the 3rd hour. Nobody hired them 6th hour. Nobody hired them 9th hour. Nobody hired them until he came in 11th hour. They were still standing there, believing that they should not go back home until it is the closing time. Even if nobody hired them, they will stay there till the closing time. You can see determination in their life and in their attitude to work. So that is one set of people. But now let's see what happened. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received, let me go to 8. So when even was come, that is, when it was evening, the Lord of the vineyard said unto his steward, Call all the laborers, and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. So those that came 11th hour, pay them first. Then pay those that came 6th hour, pay those that came the 3rd hour, then pay those that came in the morning. Ordinary human being will look at the owner of the vineyard as an unjust man. But there are so many things that we may not see here unless Holy Spirit open our eyes to some of these things, some of the deep things that are in here. Because looking at it from the perspective of man, what we will see is a picture of an unjust man. But no, that is not true. So let's look at verse 9. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. Remember, he promised those that came in the morning, he was going to pay them a penny. But when the first came, when it was their turn to be paid, they supposed that they should have received more. And they likewise received every man a penny. But when the ones that were hired in the morning, when they came, they were also paid a penny. And they were furious that, what is this? Those that came 11th hour, when it was just maybe about an hour or 2 hours for us to close, you pay them a penny. We that have been working since morning, you pay us a penny. Let's look at the reaction of the owner of the vineyard. And when they had received, okay, I've read that, saying, this last have worked but an hour. Yes. So that means they closed by the 12th hour of the day. So the ones that came last worked just 1 hour. Just 1 hour. Whereas they have been working since morning. Remember, the 3rd hour, the 6th hour. The 9th hour also was there. And past 10th hour was there. They joined 11th hour. So, but he answered one of them. The owner of the vineyard answered one of them and said, Friend, I do thee no wrong, meaning I did not do you any wrong. Did not we agree for a penny? We agreed for a penny. Take what is yours and go your way. I will give unto this last even as unto you. It is my choice to pay those that come and work for just 1 hour the same amount I bargain with you. If I like, I can pay them the same amount. I can reduce the amount I want to give to them. It's my choice as long as I fulfill my obligation to you. So one thing that we need to understand here is that the owner of the vineyard probably look at another side of the story, the opportunity. Some were called early. They have the opportunity. Maybe you have been called. You did not have to go through rigor of sin. You did not have to go through rigor of pain and some other things before you come into Christ. It is not by your grace. It's not by your power. You have been enjoying that from the owner of your vineyard. And apart from that, he decided to pay these people maybe because he saw dedication, he saw commitment in their hearts to work, but there was no work. Nobody hired them. And they were there, they were faithful, waiting for him till someone will hire them. So, it is an advice that we as Christians, we should focus on our own journey. Focus on your journey. Don't look at your brother. Don't look at your sister. Don't ask questions from God. Why is this? Why is this one doing this way and you have not done anything? Why am I like this? I want us to also look at the story of the prodigal son. The prodigal son went away, took his portion, and went away. You will have thought that the father, when the prodigal son came back, that the father will say, well, you've taken your portion and there is nothing left for you. But the redemption of that son is paramount to the father. The salvation of that son is paramount to the father. That was exactly what Christ was teaching us in that portion. That is why each and every one of us, there was no one of us that was not like a prodigal son. We all went away into the world. We received mercy of God and we came back unto God. By his mercy we were saved. So we're still going to look at some things here. Another story that is of importance to this journey of how will Christians be rewarded. Remember, it was Christ that said it, that the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom you are working for, the kingdom I am working for, is like. So begin to prepare your mind that your focus should be on what Christ has promised you and you walk faithfully with Christ. Not whether someone is doing his own this way or that way. Focus on your calling. You don't even know when that man was called. You don't know where he was called. Focus on your calling. Focus on your journey. Because on the last day, it is your calling that matters. You see, in this story of the laborers, it was their calling that matters. It is not whether they work more than other laborers. The owner of the vineyard knew when he called each and every one of them and had prepared his mind to pay each and every one of them based on what he has in mind. It is only the first one that he had agreement, a concrete agreement with, that was going to pay them a penny. But others, he told them, I will give you what is due unto you. And in his own mind, what is due unto them is a penny as well. He has his own reason. If they had gone to their various homes, he would not have seen them to hire them to work in his vine. So another important parable about how Christians will be rewarded is the parable given in the book of Matthew chapter 25 by Jesus Christ, Remember, we have just finished talking about how the owner of the vineyard sent people into the vineyard at different hours of the day, and they were rewarded equally. But let's look at the book of Matthew chapter 25 also, starting from verse 14. It says, "For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, unto another 2, and to another 1. To every man according to his several ability. And straightway he took his journey." So the master know exactly the ability of each of them, and he gave them talent according to that ability. So there is no need for competition, there is no need for struggling. He gave them the talent based on their ability. But what happened? The one that was given 5 talents went ahead, traded with the 5 talents, and came back with another 5 talents as the gain. The one that was given 2 talents also went out, produced another 2 talents, meaning the owner or the master was right. He knew their ability. The one that was given 2 talents did not come back with 5 talents. Rather, he came back with 4 talents. And the one that was given 5 talents came back with 10, meaning that the 5 he went with and another 5. So he knew. And the expectation was that the one that was given 1 will also return with 2. And if he had returned with them, what is that? The one with 5 came back, gained 100%. The one with second with 2 talents gained 100% of the investment of the kingdom. So the one with 1 went and buried his talent, and he said that he knew that the master was an unjust man, wanting to reap where he does not sow. So one thing I want us to note, which is the most important aspect of this, is let's look at the book of that same chapter, verse 21 and verse 23, and see what reward was given to the man with 5 talents and the one that was given to the man with 2 talents. In verse 21, the Lord said unto him, that is the one that had 5 talents. Let me read from 20 so that we will understand. "And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou delivered unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. You have been faithful in few things, and you have been faithful. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord." Now let's go into to verse 22 and compare what happened. In verse 22 is, "He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou delivered unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord." Compare verse 21 and verse 23. Is there any difference? No. No difference. What the reward in praise that he gave to the one with 5 talents is the same thing he gave to the one with 2 talents. If the one with 1 talent had gone out to win another or to gain another 1 talent, he would have gotten the same reward like the one that had 5. So do not look at anyone who has talent that you think you don't have. Be faithful in what you have. If you are in a congregation of 10 people, be faithful there. If you are in a congregation of 1 million, be faithful there. If you are no matter what God has put in your mind or your heart to do for his kingdom, follow faithfully, take instruction from him, and let him be the leader, because he's the one that will reward you at the end of the day. It's not, if the one that had 2 talents had compared himself to the one that had 5 talents, he would not have gotten the reward. He says, oh, I only have 2, so if I gain 1, no problem. After all, he gave someone 5, why didn't he give me 5? But the one with 2 is a good example. I'm not going to be talking about the one with 5 because he received 5, but the one with 2 was a good example for us as Christians, that he did not look at the one with 5 and complain. Rather, he was faithful in the 2 he was given. Do you know that today some had looked at those who had very large cathedral and they have veered off the track? They don't listen, they don't hear from the master again. Rather, some have even gone away into the world in a bid to have large congregation, in a bid to have multi, I don't know how to describe it, big auditorium and stuff like that. They want accolade of people, like some are known worldwide. They also want to, but that is not the purpose for which God has called you. It is for him, not for you. So be faithful in what he has called you into. And while you are faithful, on the last day, he said that he will reward every man according to his work. And he determines whether the work has produced what he wants or not. That is the most important thing. That is why your relationship with Christ in the journey is the most important thing. It's the most important. So, now, in closing, not how long you have been in the journey. That is not what determines what you will get on the last day, or what he will reward you with. You do not determine what Christ do with others who he had called. You don't determine it. Even if you kneel down, you pray, you hear him daily, your hearing him daily does not stop his relationship with other children of his. Just focus on your journey. Be focused, be faithful in your own calling. Your volume of input will never be the same with the input of others. So make sure that you are faithful in your own input, and you can present to him when he comes. You can present to him joyfully, Lord, I have been faithful in what you have given me to do. See what I have gained. That is what is most important. It is not comparing what you have gained with what someone has gained. If the man with 2 talents had come with heavy heart, saying, I only gained 2, and he gained 5, the master would have told him, did I tell you that you have to gain 5? I have given you 2, and I know your ability. So work with your ability, do to the best of your ability. That is the most important thing. And the Lord will reward you. You must be faithful to your calling. Don't forget that. And remember what happened to the servant that got 1 talent. He went and hid the talent. If you read the book of Matthew chapter 25 verse 26, his Lord answered and said to him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, you know that I reap where I sow not, and gather where I have not strawed. Verse 27, Thou ought to have put my money with the exchangers, and then at my coming I would have received my own with usury. That is, I will have received my money with interest. If you know you are not going to use it, you will have given it to those that will use it, that will trade with it. And when I arrive, I will have collected at least I will have collected my money with interest. So, brethren, please, in your journey, go one step after the other, and continue with God. Let him tell you what he wants you to do, and be faithful in what you are doing for him. He is the rewarder. He is the one that will give you reward on the last day, not man. Not even, if we are in a congregation, not even the man that ordained you as a minister. No, he does not, she does not have the power to reward you. Only Christ will reward you. Be faithful to him and be strong in the Lord. The Lord bless you.